Hey YouTubers, Austin27 back here, and I want to talk to you guys about the Black Ops 2 radios. And I think a lot of people have missed the boat on this, and I missed it too in the beginning at least. There's a lot more to the zombie storyline that's added to this game. There's a lot of explanation that people complain about not having that's actually in the game. There's a lot of continuity that is inside it that we just kind of missed, which is something I want to address in these videos because I constantly hear and see on my videos just like Black Ops 2 ruined everything, the storyline's doomed, this and that. It's not true. It's not completely doomed. It's not completely lost. And, you know, it didn't certainly help the original storyline, but it didn't destroy it because they pretty much negate Black Ops 2 from happening, the whole issue. It's almost like they undid Moon's ending because it was like, where are you going to go from blowing up the Earth? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play radios, talk about the radios, and hopefully we can all have a good discussion and get somewhere where we can understand that Call of Duty Black Ops 2's radio storyline was not only dark like we wanted, it's gruesome, it's brutal, and we really did get answers that we were looking for. It just was a matter of piecing it together, and it took us only a couple of years later to figure it all out. So, let's hear the first transit radio. And I do want to thank, I got these audio messages from Murder X Machine in my videos, so link in the description to his video. He says he wants you guys to go check out the video. You can skip to the end of it to see the credits of where that audio came from, because he got his audio from other places as well. So I just want to make sure credit is there where it's due.
What has occurred cannot be undone. However, I realize the calculations were made in haste and could potentially threaten the entire globe. That was not the intent. I considered a possible plan B should this occur, but this plan would consist of creating global polarization devices that would... It appears I have difficulty speaking. Devices when the power... Shut the power... Me...
So this first radio is our good friend Maxis, and what he's telling us is he's sitting on a radio message saying, uh-oh, what I did in Moon didn't work out. I blew up half the Earth, but I did have a plan B. Plan B was making these towers to polarize the Earth and, in turn, give him power. This would somehow, the polarization of Earth would give him control of the ether, or the aether, people, whatever you want to say it. And that would allow him to stop Richtofen. But he didn't really want to tell everybody the aether side of it. It would fix the Earth and save mankind. And that was his whole thing. And then it goes into turning the power off in transit, because he can only work through technology, but because of the Avogadro, or him, as he's referred to, he disrupts Maxis. And that's why in the Easter egg you turn the power on and off. But then later on, it's not a problem anymore. Maxis can just communicate through any electronics.
Hello. This is Jackass Flats, calling any human community within broadcasting distance. We're located at standard map coordinates 37 degrees, 07 north, 116 degrees, 03 west. This is a warning to anyone contacted by a group of mysterious voices. Several of our party began to hear the voices, and their competing instructions and incompatible demands drove a wedge down the center of the camp. Half of the camp is carrying out the demands of only through electronic. This voice is a big, long, and its ultimate goals unclear. The other voice cannot be heard by humans who have not been on the long madness this way lies. Neither of these instruction sets will understand. Those of us who have not chosen a side have been hunted by both sides, seeking to force us to assist them. Oh God, they found us! Oh! Get back! You get stuck!
So this great radio here describes what's going on about a versus of two groups. We have Maxis contacting a bunch of people. He's trying to get people to do the towers. He's trying to get other people to do the Easter eggs, is what we should have understood, is that in the past, about 20, 30 years go on. That's what the first radio in between his haste and the missiles. Richtofen and Maxis keep competing with each other to try and get control of the Earth. Maxis is trying to polarize it so he can be in control. Richtofen's just trying to stop that. He's trying to get all the towers for himself to make sure Maxis can't come in control and Richtofen can stay in power. That is his game plan. So they keep contacting people. Maxis can only talk through electronics. Richtofen can only talk to people who have eaten zombie flesh. This is where we will explain later on the radios too. I'll talk about it again, probably briefly. But the group called the Flesh. I completely had no understanding of this when it first came out. But the Flesh, and I think there's a radio just for them, is a group of people who decide to eat zombie flesh. And that later explains why Stu can hear Richtofen, and in Die Rise, the intro cutscene, why he says they killed me if they knew. And you see Stollinger eating zombie flesh. And they'd kill him because he was part of that group, that radical group. Anybody who eats zombie flesh can be contacted by Richtofen. As for Maxis, again, it's only radios. The two sides competed and eventually killed each other, and the zombies ended up killing them, and anybody that wasn't with them was against them, and they killed those people as well. So this is where this giant competition comes in, and this 20, 30 years in between of the world and chaos is just leveled because of Richtofen and Maxis competing, and people just not being able to team up. There was like no ability in this storyline for people to get together or work together. You know, when they try and form a camp, you'd end up having Richtofen and Maxis trying to talk to these people, and then you'd have zombies, and then you'd have the outbreak going on. There were so many possibilities and so many events going on to doom the human race is why everything went to crap.
What's that? Who's there? Yes, I can hear you. Flesh? Of course I have. There's nothing else. No, I won't do that. How do I know you're not lying? You could be making all that up, huh? Well, sure, that only makes sense. Dude. You're lying. But, no, I see. Sure. Really? But they're my friends. Yes. Of course I see now. I'll do it. I'll do it for you. For you and the Flesh.
This is a super easy radio in which we have Richtofen contacting someone inside the group, either at Jackass Flats or wherever it might have occurred. He's talking to him, convincing him, just like the voices in Richtofen's head convinced him to do things. He's telling him, you gotta go kill all the other people, do these Easter egg steps to activate a tower or a spire. And he's doing it in the name of the Flesh, or the organization that needs zombies. They're all banding together because they can hear Richtofen, and then other people may have followed them too, just like the other survivors. If you do Richtofen's side, only Stollinger hears him, but the other three people go along with them. So you could have had a lot of that going on as well. So that's a simple radio, pretty straightforward. Richtofen is controlling people, telling them what they should do to stop Maxis and further Richtofen's goals.
Hello? Hello? Are you there? We have activated the spire as you instructed, but the shamblers are swarming our location, and we can't hold out against their superior numbers from on without aid. Hello? Please, come in. It is vital that you instruct us on that...
So, after this radio, it is a surviving team of group that has completed an Easter egg, but couldn't hold out maybe for the final step or whatever was needed, and it seemed like it was for Maxis, and it seemed like the Shamblers that they were referring to are just zombies. It's just another name for zombies. It's nothing big. I remember I made another silly video saying, is this a possible new zombie? No, it's just a reference. It's just like when you have a slur or a name. If you ever watch World War Z, they call them Zax or Zs or whatever you really want. That's all it was, is a slur. And they seem to be left a lot of the time. You see Maxis seems to leave them just when they need it most, whether they activate the spire and then he just leaves them to die, or they have one more step and Maxis sees they're not going to finish it. He understands it and Richtofen just obliterates them with the zombies. That seems to be also common as well in these giant missions and competitions to turn on the towers.
You think you're so smart, huh? You think you can manipulate everybody into doing what you want, but we know the truth. Your calculating works and your sinister agents? You mean to destroy this planet and kill us all? We're not gonna So yeah, you keep talking. But no one's gonna hear you because we're destroying everything. Everything electronic starting with this evil radio box thing.
So after this radio, it is one of the survivors being smart enough to figure out Maxis is an evil son of a gun, and that he has been manipulating them, plans to kill them, and just taking advantage of them to follow these steps so he can become powerful, to grasp this Argothian power or ether power that he's in search of. So this is that last-ditch radio. He's breaking all the technology, and that's why he's talking to Maxis, saying he wants nothing to do with them anymore. He's killed all these people. He's been this evil, evil thing, and the worst thing that ever came into their lives. And this is the goodbye from some of the survivors to Maxis.
Voice! Come in, unidentified electronic voice. We've been attempting to activate your spire as instructed, but one of our members began hearing the other voice you warned us about. He turned on the rest of us and shot one member of our crew and wounded another before we restrained him. Hello? Hello? Damn this thing! Why doesn't it answer when we call it? Hello?
This is another example of Maxis leaving his pawns as soon as they're no use to him anymore. Richtofen is the voice that contacted one of the members that Maxis warned them about, and he shot one member and wounded another. And I'm just going to guess here that maybe that allowed them to not be able... They weren't eligible anymore for the Easter egg because now one member was injured, one was dead. Maybe one couldn't carry the fan anymore. You know, if we're going to really extrapolate this and say they were trying to do the trans Easter egg or something like that, that's why the Spire could no longer work, and Max is just instantly, nope, I'm not talking to them, I'm cutting off, and they're leaving him to be, and that's why they're all going to die, and that's why they do die.
Attention all on this channel. This is George Barkley, former Assistant Director of the CDC facility in Druid Hills, Georgia.
Come on, evil voices! Throw us a bone!
Prior to the destruction of our headquarters, our research found evidence that contaminants are now infecting the very air we breathe. As such, exposure of some sort appears inevitable for all survivors.
Come on!
Symptoms are variable,
Throw us a
but most
bone!
subjects display short-term memory loss, psychosis, delusion, and paranoia. Short-term memory loss has also been reported, but as of yet, I have been unable to confirm this. We advise all individuals to monitor their fellow survivors for signs of the above symptoms, paranoia in particular. Ask yourself, are those closest to you really who you think they are? Are they following their own secret agenda? Are they perhaps plotting against you? The dangers presented by such symptoms cannot be overstated. It was with deep sadness that I myself was forced to euthanize 14 members of my own team. My condolences to their families. I hope this message serves as a warning to all survivors. We must all do whatever it takes to ensure our future as a species. Thank you.
So this is a long, dark letter from, or a video message from George Barkley, the assistant head at the CDC facility. What ended up happening here is he starts talking about the symptoms in which you get from the airborne virus of 115. Now, this is because of the rockets and everything caused it to be in the air, why everyone starts to get side effects of it. Once they die, then they become reanimated. You can see a lot of these symptoms are actually in our Fab 4, but they're also, you know, in everybody else. You can see other things like paranoia, psychosis, and stuff like that. And a little ironic about the paranoia, he says, watch out for paranoia, and then he goes on a paranoid rant about paranoia. Kind of ironic there. He's like, watch out for paranoid, and then he continues to be paranoid, so maybe he was showing symptoms in the radio as well. Then he euthanizes people. The main message of this is that they figured out 115 is airborne. That's what's causing all the zombies. It first causes a bunch of symptoms, then once they die, it causes the zombies. So that's the big explanation there.
If there's anyone out there, please respond. I desperately need help. The others left me, and I'm alone. Help! I tried to do it.
Hear that click click? That's my empty gun, folks!
This thing's got
So this is one of the sadder radios of a woman who was part of the Flesh that was left by her own group because she was trying to do Richtofen's side, and the group left her to die because they were against Richtofen's side, and they probably thought she was crazy listening to the voices inside her head. And that's just one of the darker radios. This is one of the things I was getting at, is that Black Ops 2 storyline is not only dark like we want it in World at War, it's a whole new kind of like, oh, wow, that's brutal. It's some brutal stuff. Doesn't matter what gender you are, what race you are, you're left to die in this big battle between Richtofen and Maxis.
Science has failed us. He has abandoned us. In this new world, we alone are your salvation. We alone can light the way. Hear our words. Heed our call. There is but one path to enlightenment. Just as they would consume us, we must consume them. We are the living, and we are the dead. We are the flesh, and the flesh is us. We will not starve. We will thrive.
So this is the infamous Flesh group. This is the people that eat the zombies, even though they've already, once they kill the zombies, they'll eat the flesh off the zombies. They become cannibals. Samuel Stuhlinger used to be an old member of the Flesh, as you can see in the Die Rise intro trailer. It is a very creepy group. It's intense. It allows Richtofen to contact them because they eat zombies, and that's the big deal. I don't know if the 115 exposure is more or less or not, but the big theory right now is that allows Richtofen to contact them, and that all the voices they hear from eating the zombie's voice, because that's a direct a side effect of it, is once you eat the flesh, you hear voices in your head, and it's Richtofen. It seems to be every time.
Redcon 5, this is Airborne 10. Our sweep failed to find any evidence of survivors on site. Broken Arrow is not viable for new FOV. That's a negative, sir. Records appear to have been destroyed in a fire prior to the facility being overrun. Sir, we believe staff may have been trying to destroy evidence implicating them in the outbreak. Understood, sir. Confirmed drop at T-5. Retreating to safe distance.
In this message, we end up seeing a recon plane under Saber 10, and they're talking about Broken Arrow, which seems to be a facility that was helping in the zombie outbreak. They were doing research, and Russman used to be a part of Broken Arrow. So this was a facility at the time that might have helped speed up the zombie process around the world. They might have been doing experiments with the airborne virus and 115, which later led to the giant outbreak on Earth. They destroyed all their research so they couldn't be implicated in it, it sounds like. And then they go and, hit the town with this airstrike, the payload he's talking about on the radio.
To anyone listening, we have food, water, and medical supplies. Enough to last several years.
This last radio is a group of survivors trying to broadcast, trying to get more people into their camp or wherever they're held out. They're trying to recruit more people. They're saying they have lots of food, water, and supplies. And it seems to be an indication in this radio that there are some normal people out there. There isn't just Maxis and Richtofen people. There's also some I don't care people trying to still survive. So there it is. That is those are most of them. I'm going to do in a different video. I'll do Origins radios. I'll talk to you about those in more detail, but this video is going on pretty long now. There you go. There you have it. There is all the information you need about Origins and all that good stuff. Or not Origins. I apologize. Die Rise and Transit. There's the breakdown. We have a very dark story like we wanted. We have a very detailed and interesting story. So there's a lot more to it than we gave it credit for. And I hope now you have a little better understanding. I keep seeing these comments that nothing was good about Black Ops 2. Nothing made sense. You have to try. If you don't put in the effort to try and piece any of it together, then that just discredits everybody else. I think it's silly to be like, Black Ops 2 was horrible and they did nothing right. They did some things right. I'm not saying story-wise they did things right, but there were some good things and good mechanics introduced into Black Ops 2 that they did right. And they kept a lot of things that they were doing right. So, you still got to give it to Treyarch for doing a very good job. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more. if you more zombie content, leave a rating. That helps me out in a comment. Tell me your thoughts and ideas about it in the comments below, what you make of all these radios. And have a great day, guys. Bye.
I'm a thinker, I could break it down. I'm a shooter, a drastic baby. Agitate, jump out, feel it in the will. Can you talk about deep sea with me?